woke us up this morning.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those that trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever. Amen.
All right. Peace. Man, yeah, you was in the spirit for real, kind of threw me off. I was like, that's what's up. Hey, peace world. Welcome y'all back, man. Well, I'd like to welcome y'all back to another episode of Clean Slate Lifestyles. Like I said, I'll be giving some powerful testimonies from all walks of life. Like I said, I always say, addiction don't discriminate, right? So like I said, man, I got a good guest right here this time, you know what I mean? It came to me when he sat down, resilience. He's the real definition of resilience, you know what I mean? I just watched his journey. He never gave up. I seen it from the start, you know what I mean? Well, something from the start, you know what I mean?
Right.
But like I said, I didn't see him fall, get back up, and I feel like that's the real definition of man, you know what I mean? That shows great character. So I'm honored to bring my guest right here, you know, my brother Keith.
All right, thank you.
What's up, sir? How you doing?
I'm doing great.
You doing great?
Yes, sir.
How you feeling?
Oh, blessed, man. Every day. Just
Blessed?
Blessed.
Was that a good, great group up
Oh,
here?
yes. Great comments. I love coming in here and listening to the guys and sharing. I love it.
Okay, for sure. What's your recovery date? It's Friday day.
My sobriety date is January 10th, 2025.
Okay, 2025. Okay, for sure. What's your DOC, if you don't mind me
Drug of
asking?
choices,
Yeah.
crack cocaine.
Crack cocaine?
Yeah, I dabbled with marijuana and alcohol, but basically those were substitutes when I didn't have crack.
I got you.
I needed something just to get outside of myself. So, yeah.
Well, when you think that your crack journey started?
I think I was about 26 years old, and you know, I've always had the problem with self-esteem, and so this girl, I came from Georgia. I was living in Georgia, and this girl was, you know, preparing the crack, and I had never seen it, didn't know anything about it, and my desire to fulfill that low self-esteem by any means necessary. You know, I used, before I started with crack cocaine, I was a DJ, and I used music to fill that void. You know, I felt like the better I became at different things, the more I would be accepted. So
Gotcha.
when those things didn't work anymore, it led me to be available to start trying drugs, hard drugs. And I think I was about 26 years old.
Wow.
I don't even remember necessarily getting high on that first one, but me and the young lady had sex, and that was enough to make me keep coming back.
For sure.
So initially, I don't think it was the drug, but there was a point where continuing that behavior allowed me to cross the line, the threshold into addiction.
Do you think that the drugs and the sex went hand in hand? That's
Oh,
what kept you
yes,
going?
yes,
That's
and even until up to my last use,
Mhm.
I had become not only addicted to the drugs, but then I became addicted to the sex
Most definitely.
because of the drugs.
Most definitely.
And a lot of other behaviors that were unhealthy. But definitely, if I had the drug, I wanted the woman. If I saw the woman, I wanted the drug.
Mm-hmm.
And even at my prior attempts to recover, that became a major problem and usually led to relapse. So today, I'm vigilant.
Yeah, that's real good right there, bro. Because I always talk about relationships and recovery.
Mhm.
Like, that's a shaky ground right there.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
If you don't have no solid foundation,
Right.
it's best that you get yourself together first and foremost.
Right. Because I can't be healthy if I'm not healthy for Keith, I can't be healthy in a relationship. So automatically I'm going into this relationship. If I decided to try and have a relationship of any sort, even friendships, if I can't go into it honest about who I am and what I'm going through, then there's no hope for the relationship. There's only a length of time until it crashes, and then I'm gonna crash.
Let me ask you something. During those times, right, when you try to get clean, was you still interested in the same type of women?
Yes, in the beginning.
In the beginning?
In the beginning, I was still attracted. I don't know if I was necessarily interested, but because of the long history, I used drugs for off and on for 40 years, so close to 40, about 35 years. So when I see back then when I saw a woman who I knew used drugs, it automatically triggered the desire or the thought, you know, like, man, wish I knew her when I had drugs.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, like, boy, if I would have met you back when I was
Right.
and that's when you, what they call that, reserve.
Right.
Yeah.
Reservation.
Reserve, reservation. Yeah, for sure. That's crazy too.
Yep.
So you said you started at 26. What was you doing before then? No drinking, drugging?
Like I said, I was a DJ for a number of years. I went to Marshall University and got an FCC license, so I was, you know, on the radio in Huntington, Georgia, and Ohio, and I drank when I was there, but not, you know, one 12-ounce can of beer would get me tipsy, so I wasn't a big drinker. And then I just noticed I didn't like it, so I started drinking virgin daiquiris. But I did like marijuana. It took me outside of myself. I felt like I was more talkative, more fun. So I don't necessarily feel like I had the same depth of addiction. You know, there's, you know, anything that caused a problem. It really wasn't causing a problem in the beginning. Well, yes, it was, because I was driving high. You know what I mean? When I look back on it, I could see the problems that it caused, but it didn't cause me problems that I could see at the time. But I didn't do any back when I was young, back in those times, and more people were addicted to like Valiums and things like that, but I never liked pills, so I never ended up, because I probably would have got it, you know, anything I tried, I believe there's a threshold that I would have, you know, crossed.
You think you got addictive personality?
Yes. Because like I said, I used, when I was real young, I used skating. I used to be a heck of a skater, a dancer. And I can look back now and see those periods of time where that's all I wanted to do, and I wanted to be the best at it, because then I felt accepted.
So that's what it is, acceptance, right? Yeah, for your peers. That's another thing, that's adults, we even go through peer pressure ourselves.
Right.
That's real.
Right, yeah, it ain't just for kids.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes. Even sometimes today, sometimes when I go in the meeting, you know, I feel like I'm under a little peer pressure, you know, because, you know, I'm a work in progress, so the desire to be accepted is still there. Even though I try to, when I wake up and throughout the day I pray and I let the God of my understanding know that I know that I'm enough, but I don't always feel I'm enough.
That's good. Yeah, because an addiction do bring down your self-esteem.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Oh,
especially if that's what boosted your self-esteem. Right. And when you don't got it, you really questioning everything.
That's
like,
perfect.
Man.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
That's perfectly said. Yeah. You know, I used drugs for so long to try to enhance that self-esteem, and you take that away, and now I'm left with like, oh wow, who am I? What am I going to become? But thank God that I have an understanding and a relationship with Him today that allows me to at least acknowledge those things. Because before, I would hold them in, and if I don't talk about it, then that's a problem, because it just alienates me even more. You know,
So when you got on the crack, right? Let's talk about that monster it created. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, explain like some situations that led you to it.
Like I said, I have 6 prison numbers.
6 prison
over
numbers.
20 years in prison, and all of it behind trying to get out. Let's see, just a couple. Let me just say the depth of my addiction, the lengths that I went to get high. I remember one time I was on probation, and you know, I had to go drop, and I had crack, and I didn't want to go. So my disease tells me, well, just take us with you and and go report, and you'll be all right.
Yeah.
And I went to the police station to see my parole officer, and I spent about an hour and a half in the bathroom smoking crack before.
Wow.
It was only by the grace of God. When I came out, I was sweating and looked so crazy.
PO
And the parole office.
Wow.
And my PO looked at me and said, I'm not even going to piss you. Get out of here.
Oh, wow.
It sat in the, you know, that was the I could not go without it. It's taken me to the limits of robbing banks. I've been homeless. I mean, and thought it was okay. You know, there was a point where this lifestyle had become so normal that I couldn't differentiate that this is wrong and I should do something different.
Right.
I've eaten out of the trash. I remember one time I was going down Cleveland Avenue and I don't even remember what it was, like an AMC something. It was like a little station wagon. Well, me and a guy had gotten into it and he busted out the front windshield, threw a rock through it. So it had this big old dent in it. And I had a little money, so I'm trying to go get the next one. And the police pulled me over and say, well, you can't drive like that. And I asked him, well, what can I do? He said, you can take it out.
Wow.
I took all the front windshield out, put it on the grass, and I had some plastic goggles that I put I'm driving down Cleveland Avenue with these goggles, so the glass don't go blowing, the scraps don't blow in my eye to go get the next one.
Wow.
I couldn't even see. It was all about the next one.
Yeah.
I've mistreated women because I used them for sex. I played on their addiction. My addiction caused me to play on their addiction. And I know, I can't say I know what a woman feels like that has to be out there and has to do the sexual favors and the things they have to do to get high. But I know that I used to think I was different. Oh, I don't make them do anything. But I was. Because I was preying on their addiction, man. And I know that today, you know. And I had to make amends for that. But I've stolen from my mother. I've stolen from everybody. And I'm just, in prison, it's amazing. In prison, I didn't want to get high.
That's wild.
But as soon as I hit the street, I've done years, consecutive years, lengths of time, not getting high.
That's crazy. I'm the same way with smoking.
Really?
I'm black, yeah. When I get locked up, I don't even think about smoking.
I ain't think
I
about
could
that.
do years.
Right.
As soon as I get free, it's like, take me go get some black.
Right.
What?
I didn't even think about that. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
Same way with me. It doesn't bother me a bit to not smoke in prison.
Yeah.
And as soon as I get out, I never thought about that. I appreciate that.
That's crazy. Another thing I thought about too, I don't know if it's true with you, but I've been locked up a whole lot of times, intoxicated. I ain't never caught a case sober.
Right.
I ain't never been
Let's
in jail
see.
sober unless it was something I did when I was
Right.
drunk.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. I ain't think about that. Every time, when I look back at it now, every time it was always connected to getting high. Always.
That's wild.
And then there are times though that I should have went to jail and didn't.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's just amazing how good God is to me because I drove high so many times. I mean, deliriously high, where I thought trees were people.
Wow.
And and I'm still driving. I could have harmed somebody. And then I robbed Myers. Myers used to be on Bryce Road. I robbed him one time. Robbed what they call the cash cow. And I this one just sticks with me so bad because I was on brakes didn't work on the car. It wasn't my car. Some guy told me he'd pay me to go change the tire. So my disease says, shit, before you go back, you can go hit a lick.
Yeah, wow.
And I'm in a high-speed chase with this man's car, no brakes, and it was just the grace of God. Nobody was walking in front of the car because I could have never stopped.
What's that, Reynoldsburg out there? Yeah.
On high-speed chase, and then I ran up in the building, and they thought I had hostages, and I was in there about 8 hours before I decided to give up because there was a kid in there, but they were in my apartment. I ran in my apartment. And thank God that I decided to give up and the kid wasn't hurt, or I didn't run nobody over.
Yes, thank God. He done saved us when we couldn't save ourselves.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
You're right.
When do you think was your first time that you decided to go get some recovery?
Well, honestly, and see, I have to be honest. I went to recovery a lot of times, but I didn't go to recovery. I told myself I was going to recovery, but basically, when I look back and if I get gutter honest, which is required of me today,
For sure.
I went because I was homeless, the parole put me there, I didn't want to go to jail. I always went with a reservation, an ulterior motive. Now the last time, this is my second time, I like to say this is my second time at recovery, at real recovery. The last time I graduated from Mary Haven, I did 28 days, and I went home and I stayed clean almost 10 months. But the problem with that was I did not work on my sex addiction. And one day,
Go ahead.
One day it overtook me. I saw a girl, she looked too good in them shorts, and I'm like, well, I don't have to get high. I can just take care of business.
Yeah.
But she wants to
She
get
got high?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was over with.
Yeah.
Now I want to get high.
Yeah,
So
sure.
And then I was working in recovery. I was a peer supporter, and I have a chemical dependency counselor's license. So I was counseling people.
Doing your thing.
So my disease tells me, well, nobody's gonna know. You can go to work tomorrow and act like everything's all right. But my recovery told me, even at that point, my recovery told me, no, you can't. You cannot go in and teach people about staying clean, living that life. So I called both jobs, and I self-reported that I had used. Of course, I lost both jobs, but I got an invitation to come back once I got clean again. But it took me a year to come, almost a year, 3 days short of a year, because I decided, the disease kept telling me, you're worthless. Nobody wants to hear what you have to say.
Defeated.
Felt very defeated, perfect word.
Ooh, I tell you another, that conviction. That conviction eating you
Right,
up.
right,
Dang.
because I knew better.
Yeah.
I knew better. But this time, in January, when I did finally have the courage to return to recovery, it was difficult. I'm not gonna pretend like it wasn't. I remember one day I was here at a meeting and I saw a guy I used to counsel come to the meeting, and he was working at one of the places that I was working at, and he was bringing people in. And I was gonna do a reading, and I couldn't even do the reading. I just cried so bad, the guilt and the shame overtook me. And I almost left. Thank God I didn't. Today, I'm so grateful to God. But this is my second real attempt at recovery. And this time, though, I knew I had to work on everything. It is not just about separating me from the drugs and changing, a couple behaviors. I have to change everything. Everything.
I tell people that all the time too. Like, recovery is just more than just the drugs and the alcohol, because you got to think about everything else that you picked up along the way.
Right.
The way you're thinking. Right. Your attitude. What you like. What
and
you dislike.
30 years, 35 years of using, I had developed habits and new morals and values that were worthless, but they were necessary in that activity. And after 30 years, you figure if you wake up today, 30 years old, you wake up, you've been tying your shoe the same way for 20 years, you're automatically gonna tie your shoe that way. Automatic, without thinking. So some of the behaviors that I had developed were still automatic, and I had to learn to rethink those things. I had to be aware of when I'm doing those things that are gonna put me in jeopardy. And women is one of them. I'll talk to a woman, say hi, have a conversation. I'll drop a woman off from a meeting, but I don't want no phone number. If we become good, yeah, but I don't want no misinterpretation. Hey, listen, this ain't that. 'Cause I know me, and I'm so vigilant and aware of that aspect that's if something was to take me out, I know from prior experience that's going to be probably the first thing. So I make sure that I am honest up front. Hey, this is just recovery. Of course, I like to develop friendships, but I don't focus on sex. I don't watch porn no more. I was addicted to porn. If I'm watching a movie and they show a girl naked, I'm turning the channel. Because I don't want anything to start to develop or sink in. Like, oh yeah, it's okay. Because the disease is cunning, baffling, and powerful.
Tell you something, dealing with that glow. That recovery glow. You go so long without it, now you shining, and you getting attention that you used to didn't get. So now that'd be kind of hard to turn down, for me. Anyway,
for me too. I agree with you. Yeah, I've had a couple women ask for my number, and maybe you can pick me up for a meeting. Okay, as long as we know that that's what it is. But the thought sometimes I still have to catch it. She's looking good, or maybe you can. No, I can't. Right behind it is no, I can't. But because we can't control our thoughts, we can control what we do. What I know today is either I control my feelings. I deal with my feelings, or I let my feelings deal with me. And I don't want them dealing with me no more. So I'm vigilant, very vigilant.
Got you. So I'm assuming that you're feeling comfortable in your recovery right now, a little bit more comfortable.
Oh yes. Yes, because like I said, I'm working on everything. It's a process. But God has showed up. I need to say this. When the last time that I was clean and I did what I did, I told God I'm not praying no more. Because I knew God would stop me from getting high. I know my God. You hear me? And I wasn't ready. After that obsession set in, I wasn't ready. I wanted to go a little longer. And So I knew when I came back to recovery this time, when I prayed, that I knew what he was going to do. And he has done it. And every day since, he continues to show me and teach me that there is a better way to live.
Yeah, for sure.
And I love it. So you see me a lot because I'm a meeting guy. I'm a program guy, period. And that desire to help. What I've noticed is the more I help, the more I get help.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's how it works.
Yes.
That's how what they tell you, gotta give it away to get
and keep it.
Yeah, to keep it. You know what I mean?
I come to Maryhaven. I do 3 or 4 times on one of the units. I probably do about 12, 14 meetings a week. Some days I do 4 meetings, 3, 4 meetings. And it's not because I'm sick. It's just that I know that's where the food is.
For sure.
That's where my food is.
For sure.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I know. I mean, I think about how many times I went to the crack house. I went there 5, 10 times a day.
That's good.
But I see people who, I'm a house manager where I'm at. So, and God has blessed me with transportation. So I'll be like, y'all want to go to a meeting? And they don't, I only got to do 5 a week. Well, okay, if that works for you.
Last time I seen you, right? While you was in treatment. What I told you that you was a leader. You know what I mean? I always see you standing up in the meetings. I see how the way the other residents treat you. You know what I mean? I see the way that you carry yourself. I know you got it in you. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's why God is blessing you with so much right now.
Right.
What you just say? You was a house manager?
Yes,
now?
I'm a house manager. They had me fill out an application, and I have, like I said, I have a peer support and the CDCA. So they see what God is doing. It ain't what Keith is doing. It's definitely what God is doing through Keith. And have offered me a position as a peer supporter, and then I'll graduate and move to counselor.
How's it working as a peer supporter? Like, how it feel being a peer?
I love it. One of the things, like you just said, if I don't give it away, I can't keep it. So I'm constantly vigilant. If they have a thing that says when the hand of AA reaches out, I want to be there. I have internalized that. So I'm very open with my story, with the guys, and I'm always trying to help. So, like you said, I have noticed that a lot of people, not to my home, but a lot of people have taken a liking to me because of what God is doing for me and through me. And though I face challenges with some guys, and the challenges just be sometimes I'm not quick to understand that this person is in a different part or process. Right. I have to remember that there were times when people talked to me and I couldn't hear it. I didn't want to hear it. I wasn't done. But today I try to be open and honest about my story with the guys. So I do have some people who seem to respect me and value my input. So that's a blessing.
Could it be like triggering sometimes, like knowing that you've been on both sides of the track, right?
Right.
You done been a worker and you done been a client,
Right.
and seeing certain things and hearing something, because like you said, how some are treated, some is treated unfair.
Right.
You know who's being real with the program.
Right.
You see the bullshit.
Right.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Right.
So can some of those situations be triggering to you?
Well, sometimes I'm triggered more by anger, and especially when I see the bullshit.
Yeah.
What they say, you can't bullshit the bullshit. And being on both sides for so long, sometimes I'm triggered with anger or disappointment. I'm not necessarily triggered to use. Haven't had that thing, because like I said, I believe wholeheartedly God has removed the obsession and compulsion. The only way I can use again is if I stop doing what I'm doing and wake up and make that choice. Somebody else can't make that choice for me because I'm vigilant. If I am in a conversation and somebody is talking about some things that I've been through, thank God that they will remind me of that event, you know what I mean? But it won't trigger me to go use.
Yeah. And I was talking about more like you said, the anger.
Oh yes, definitely. Disappointment and anger sometimes get to me because it's a better way, And I still have, even though I ask God to direct my path, I'm human. I still have that desire to control, and sometimes I want to control their recovery by saying, "Hey, just try it."
Yeah.
You know, I try my best never to say you should.
Yeah.
I don't go at them like that.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things that has made me effective, and why I get to come here and talk, and why the clinic, Buckeye Clinic is allowing me to be in a position of a house manager and to work, because I don't preach to the guys, but I am sometimes disappointed.
That's the best thing about being a peer supporter, because that's not part of the job, is to tell them what
Exactly.
they're supposed to do. You know what I mean? It's to help them be more independent on their thought process.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's
Right.
whatever helps better for them.
Right.
That's why I think a lot of people don't understand the peer support thing. It's like, no, I'm here to support. I'm here to support my peers.
As a peer supporter, I am to encourage their pathway to recovery, because their pathway might not look like mine.
Facts.
So
Facts.
I want to allow people to dictate what they need, what they want in their recovery, and try to help support it as best that I can.
Most definitely.
Right, yeah.
Most definitely. Meeting them where they at is very
Right.
important.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because like you said, it was a time where we didn't get it.
Exactly.
We didn't understand. It's still a whole lot of things about recovery.
Right.
I'm just now getting,
Right.
you know what I
Right.
mean?
Oh, yeah.
It's like every day
Mm-hmm.
you move forward and
Right.
learn something new.
Right.
It ain't gonna never be over with. Like
Right.
I always put life in recovery, because you got a lifetime dealing with this.
Right.
in
Yeah,
recovery.
this is a
Like-
lifestyle. I like what the one the guy shared today when he said his recovery is like a house, and it's got plumbing, electrical, air conditioning. This is how my recovery is. My recovery has more than just staying away from drugs and alcohol. I gotta change behavior.
Talk about it.
I gotta help others. I gotta trust God. I gotta clean house. And I love that analogy, man. And like he said, if you do something, the one guy said, and I loved it. If you do something for 30 days, it becomes a habit. If you do it for 90 days, it becomes a lifestyle. I love that. So if I get up every day and I practice what I started on day one, and the things that I've learned all the days since, I got a good shot at this, you know. But it's when I start putting my will in it and trying to dictate the parts of the program that I do or don't want to do, then I'm in trouble.
For sure. Like, give God the will.
Right.
That's crazy. That 2190, I'm gonna give you one of my books, The Daily Jewels, Walking
Oh,
Through
yeah.
90 Days.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said that, I was like, oh, I wonder did he read the book? Nah, that's me being me. I was like, he ain't worried about you. That's real.
Right,
That's real,
right.
man.
That comes. But I would love to read it, man.
Yeah.
I have to say that you have been, there's a lot of people here at Maryhaven that have really been an influential part of my recovery and stay that way. And until I got to see you again, every day since I left, right? I know I wrote your number on something, right?
Yeah.
And I couldn't find it. I called here and I say, Brother Will, I want to talk to Brother Will. Yeah. So I really appreciate your lifestyle and the things that God is doing in you, because it's inspiring to me and countless others. You know, you are, I don't know whether you know it or not, but you are highly favored. You are highly favored, and you're important to Mary. Maryhaven is very blessed to have you here.
Appreciate
Because
that.
a lot of guys, no Brother Will, a lot of guys continue to speak about you. And that means that you're doing the right thing. And I always listen to your song. It's on I play it all the time. Yeah, all the time. Change is gonna come, baby.
Definitely.
A change. Listen, I love that, man. You and in the books, doing things like this, man. God is blessing you to bless others.
Yeah, that's what I do. Wake up every morning and ask him, what do we need me to do? You
Right.
know what I mean? I don't move on my own will.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? It's like, nah, because that's what Will was used to doing,
Right.
moving on his own will.
Right.
And switched it, no, it's God's will now.
Right.
You know what I mean? What he
Right.
want me to do.
And I'm so much happier when I do what God wants me to do.
Most definitely.
You know, even down to getting transportation. I want an SUV, and I want this, I want that. And this time first of all, I didn't even know I was gonna go get one. An opportunity presented itself. But God gave me what he wanted. And man, look, he gave me the best transportation I ever had in my life. You know, just things like that. When I wake up and I'm not concerned with me, when I wake up and I'm concerned with somebody else, helping somebody else, or God, what can I do today to show somebody your power, your love? I like the third step prayer. Your power, your love, your way of life. Man, it's so important to me today, man. I'm so much happier. Even when things aren't going, I had a guy tell me one time in group, he said, it's a good day when everything goes your way and you stay sober. But it's a great day when nothing goes your way and you stay sober.
Yeah.
And that is so true.
That's
You
hard.
know, I've had some tough days. The other day I ran over my glasses. I couldn't see. But God, in his foreknowledge, I signed up, didn't even realize I had signed up for insurance on them. And I just happened to stop over there and tell them, they're like, give me the broken parts, and now I'm working on a new pair, you know. So just little things like that, man. You know, I don't have to get angry and sidetracked and find a solution. God's gonna give me the solution.
A bad moment don't make a bad day.
Yes, perfectly said. A bad moment does not have to make a bad day. And then when I know when I wake up with the gratitude and prayer, my day starts out great every morning.
Sure.
When I start to focus on the things I don't have, that's when the problem comes in. I'm grateful today for what I do have. And it makes me appreciate it more when I realize that I have so much.
Yeah.
And I'm not even talking about material. I have some material things. But I'm talking about that peace, that inner peace, man.
Nothing like it.
It is nothing like it. Nothing.
Like you don't want nobody to interrupt you.
Right.
And
then I get up and I have this I have a morning thing that I do, a good morning to people, right? And I've been doing it for a while. Yeah. And I've been doing it. I keep
up this early, man. I ain't even up yet.
Praying and getting in. But I didn't get to do it this morning. And there's only probably 2 days I haven't done it. But I didn't get to do it this morning. It started out a little busy. But Coach said, man, yeah, I noticed that. I was wondering where you was, you know, and it makes me feel good that people appreciate it.
That's what you got there from, Coach?
No, I just started doing it.
Because that's what stuff Coach be doing.
Me and Coach
every
do
morning.
Every morning, me and Coach do
that's
that.
dope. That's dope.
He either send me something inspirational, I send him something. It is just so great. I can't even explain how great the feeling of coming back to somewhere when people saw you at that lowest point, man. And they see you progress, and like you said, you saw things in me I couldn't even see in me. Right now, I'm gonna tell you the God honest truth. 5.5 months ago, almost 6 months ago, I could not have imagined the life I live today. I would have been selling myself short. I really would have.
It's more than
oh my goodness. You know, Coach Orange says bigger than you. Bigger than you. But you and Coach, I mean, man, y'all have really been an influential part. And I that's why I do the good mornings, man. And then I notice that people appreciate it. Or they might be having a bad day. Like now, I used to be the one to get up and do it first. Now I'm getting texts from them first. They beating me to the punch.
You know, it's the thing, when people see you trying, that's when they'll help. When people see you helping yourself.
Right.
You
They'll
know
extend their hand.
For sure.
Right. Even if it's a word of encouragement.
Yeah, okay. Well, speaking of words of encouragement, you want to get some words of encouragement to anybody who may be on the same path, especially the youngins out there, man. You know what I mean?
I would like to tell you, I'm 64 years old. I waited a long time. I'm living my best life now. But when I was young, I kept thinking I had it all, or I had time to do this, that, or the other. The time is now. You don't have to live the life that I lived or anything close to it. You have the opportunity today to change your life, to realize that partying and the different things that we thought were fun and gonna make us somebody, those things are not gonna work. They may seem like they're working for a few minutes or a few years even, but all they do is cause us to get farther and farther away from God. And I notice when I'm away from God, that makes me less than, and I search externally for things that make me happy internally. The only way I'm gonna be happy internally is to have a connection with a higher power, which I choose to call God. And it is my prayer and my hope that those who have the opportunity to see this and to be blessed by his ability to do this, I hope and pray that something in this message will change your life.
For sure.
Something.
For sure.
Thank you.
I appreciate that. We appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
For sure. Enjoy the rest of your day, man.
Yes, sir.
I greatly appreciate that you came to share that with us. You know what I mean? Like, man, I pray to God. Well, I know it's going to reach you. I know it's going to reach some people that really needed to hear that message. You know what I mean?
I like to say I am honored to be asked to do it. You know, again, this is my God showing me confirmation that I'm doing the right thing.
And that's what I'm doing it for. You know what I mean? That's all I'm doing it for. You know?
So I thank
Peace,
you.
man.
All right.
Have a good
Thank you,
one.
man.
Yes, sir.